Hi everyone, Christina Careless here. Today I'm going to do a Gimp tutorial on how to create smoke. I'm actually going to show you guys two different techniques that I use to create a good smoky picture. And the first one I'm going to show you is for a simple background smoke. So this wouldn't be something that would go over top of a picture. It would be more if you were going to do just a solid smoky background and edit something on top of it or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new photo, and you want to make sure your background is black. And we're going to go ahead and, this may sound weird, but we are going to duplicate the background. That way we have two black layers. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go down to Render, Clouds, and Difference Clouds. This will bring up the option to have these cloud looking things. Now you can play with this and do whatever you want to it. You can even use the turbulent. I don't think I would, but either way, or you can create more detail in it, however detailed you want it. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it with 2 and have the X and Y at 4. Okay, so you've got this real basic blurry kind of smoky background. We're going to give it more of a realistic look to it. So you're going to go down to Distorts and Eye Warp, and you're going to use the swirl. You can use counterclockwise or clockwise, doesn't really matter, and just swirl some of the white up into the black and some of the black down into the white and the grays together. Just swirl everything around. Give it kind of more of a smoky look to it. Now, the more detail you put into it, the more it'll probably mess it up. Like, this probably is going to look horrible, but just trying to give you guys a good contrast of it so you can see how I do it. And I usually do this a couple times, that way there's more of a dimension to it. So, alright, so this looks horrible and not like smoke at all. But we're going to go ahead and go up to the mode of the layer, and we're going to make it hard light. So this pretty much just gives you some of the smoke. Alright, you can also do different things. Oh, not overlay. You can do a screen if you want to do that, or I think grain merge works. Yeah, okay. So if that's if you wanted it to look kind of like it's in the background. But I'm going to keep it with hard light. That way you guys can see it. And I'm going to go ahead and reshow Eye Warp. And even though I'm not going to be able to really tell what I'm doing here, I'm just going to give it some more swirls. And I'm going to move it around. That way my swirls don't look as planned and fake. So I'm just wiggling everything around and not really letting it have any real shape to anything. I'm just going to hit OK. Alright, so there's one way to do the background smoke, and I like to usually do this 2 times and make this one a little less visible. Or you can do it the easy way. You can just duplicate the layer and then you can flip it or rotate it, whatever you want to do to it. That way there's kind of looks like it's mirrored, but you get the point. You can do whatever you want to make it look like smoke. We're going to go ahead and just delete that layer. And so you guys can see what I'm doing with the other type of smoke, I'm just going to toggle the visibility back on this one, so you can't see it. Okay, so for the other type of smoke, this would be for over top of a picture, like say you wanted smoke to be coming out of your mouth or your eyes or your ears, then you would want to do it this way. Go ahead and create a new layer. I'm going to call this the smoke layer. And make sure it's a transparent layer too. Okay, so now we're going to go to the paintbrush tool, and you want to make sure you're using the circle fuzzy. Okay, so you can draw whatever you want. You can draw a straight line, or you can draw a squiggly, or you can draw whatever you want. But for the sake, I'll just show you the squiggly and the straight line. And we're going to go to blur, Gaussian blur, and we're going to blur this by a lot. We're going to go ahead and go up to 50. Looks about right. You want it to be pretty transparent. Okay, so now we're going to go down to distorts again and eye warp, and we are going to, what I like to do with these ones is I like to grow it. This just kind of makes it look a little more puffy, kind of like real smoke. Alright, so you don't have to do this part, but I like to do it. And with the swirls, I just like to take the swirl and kind of wiggle it back and forth, up and down along the whole thing. Give it some kind of smoky look to it. I like to do this with both. And you can do harder swirls in there to where you can see it, or you can do just simple little swirls in there. And then just hit OK. Alright, so this is the second way to create smoke. You can continue to, blur and then eye warp and blur and then eye warp until it looks like the smoke that you want. I'm going to go ahead and take that back off. So now I've got two different types of smoke. Okay, so and then another thing that a lot of people like to do when they do smoke is they like to make it look colored. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit new layer, and we're going to colorize the back smoke first. And I'm going to make this a darker smoke so that it is still stands out in the background and the smoke in front will stand out more. Okay, so what you want to do is, since you can't really alpha to selection this one, it's just going to select the whole thing. You don't have to do that. So we're just going to go up to the hue, or to the blend tool, and we're going to pick a gradient. I'm going to go ahead and pick this one, this rainbow one, and I'm just going to drag it and drop it. Okay, now you want to play with what it looks like. That way you can figure out whichever one you like best. I'm going to go ahead and leave it with multiply, that way it's darker and it's more in the background. Okay, for the smoke over top of this, to make it colored, we're going to go ahead and hit new layer, and we're going to call this the color layer. You don't have to name your layers, I usually don't. And you want to make sure this is below your smoke layer. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to alpha to select these. That way, well, it only shows the marching ants down here, but it'll color this entire thing for you. And I'm going to do it backwards this time, so I'm going to drag it this way. Oops. Make sure you're on your color layer. And then drag down. Alright, so now we can select none, and you can find the smoke that works for you. You can pretty much do whatever you please with that. And you can even make it darker or brighter, whatever you want. Alright, so there are two ways to create smoke. If you have any questions or requests for tutorials, go ahead and contact me at any of the links I will be linking below in the caption. If you have requests for an edit, say you don't have Gimp or don't have the ability to get it, I can create a photo for you. You just contact me on any of those and let me know. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a good day.